Okay, so now we have our little teapot body here. And we're just going to trim it just like the rest of your pots. We're not going to want to make this base as narrow as we could for fear of it being tippy. But we do want to trim it up a little. It's looking a little haggard. Okay, got my tool. Got my elbows resting on my leg and in my rib cage. My loose hand is fingers on the pot. It's touching the trimming tool. I'm always on guard for it jumping, because that could be a whole lot of no good. So I've got my little undercut there for glaze catching, and also makes a nice handle when you go to glaze this thing. So there's the foot, and I want to trim away this area inside. Start on the inside and slowly go out to that foot, and you can see it's a little bouncy. It wants to grab that tool, but I gotta let it. As I get closer to that foot rim, I really have to bear down and concentrate, because if it jumps and hits that foot, it takes a big gouge out. I'm going to be here a while fixing it. Okay, here we go. Now I can make that a little more narrow if I'm careful. Okay, I'm just smoothing over the rough little bits there. And there we got our teapot more or less body. Now, with teapots, there's a lot of fussing, so you're never really done. You just stop working sooner or later. Okay. So I can see that that is probably just a little too wide for what I was thinking, but it's okay. I'll work a little more on that. Wait, but now I need to get my lid going. Okay, so that's looking good. And lot of support on these. I hate it when they go flying and bounce along on the floor. That's why you always should make more than one spout and more than one lid for every teapot. There. So I'm going to remove clay in this area. And then I'll put it on my teapot body and see how it looks. Hopefully it'll look like it belongs there. Make sure my fit's okay, and it still fits, and how it looks. Okay, so that's looking okay. Now, one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to give it a steam hole and a little hole to hook our T-ball on, but more importantly, we've got to put a little knob on there. Come on. Okay, fingers on it when we tack it down so it doesn't move. Okay, so got that scored. And then we've got this little guy's going to be our knob. Start with more clay than we need, and then we'll remove whatever we don't like. The clay is very soft for this knob, so it's like I can push it around quite easy. our fingers are right here when we pick up this lid off our teapot. So we want our steam hole to be out away from that knob. Out here. So that'll be our steam hole. And then I like to put a little hole in that stem to hold my T-bow chain. Sometimes the little edges like that here and here, they're easier to clean up after they've dried a little. Don't forget, they're a lot harder to clean up once you bisque them. Okay, so now we got our lid. Now we're gonna have the last part is to put our spout on. Okay, so here's our little spout, and I'm going to put it up to the side and guesstimate just a little bit how I'm going to get that on. Hang on just a sec. So I'm holding the teapot spout behind the teapot, generally how I want it. And then I'll trim it all up. Best we can. So I'm going to just take a little of this inside clay off here. Teapots should be light if you can. Okay, then we're going to place it on the body. Okay. Once we're sure that the lid is fine in relationship to that spout, making a light line around there, right? And once we get a rough idea what we want, I like this tool for this. Hand is on the inside. And I want to very carefully get an indentation. The thought is that an indentation like this is a little better for grabbing the tea leaves as they go through your strainer, okay? If your teapot is too dry at this stage, you will crack it by doing this. So re-moisten it with some paper towels or what you got and come back to it next day. Okay. I got a little spidery guy. Okay, so there's that. So I didn't need any of this except to throw it. Then you carve it all away. Okay, so now we want to put in our grid. Any kind of knife would do this pretty well. You know what works really well is maybe an old drill bit that is too dull to use anymore, but it'd be fine with clay. There used to be a place called Bowling Surplus, and I used to go in and get all these old drill bits. And because I had all these nice drill bits, they were made out of real nice bowing metal, you know. I started making a bunch of colanders because I was drilling holes all the time. And I did that until I got sick of colanders. Don't try and jam in too many in here, because it's real easy to crack this lattice that you're building. I've got my finger on the inside and I'm just constantly moving it around to take off any of the burrs. It's important to get those burrs off before you fire your pot, because when you go to glaze them, they can be razor sharp, and whoever's cleaning the inside of this pot is not going to be happy with you. Yeah, we don't like our customers to bleed for us. Just about anything else is okay. If your pot is too wet, this will be impossible to do, because the clay will just smoosh together and you won't get a nice tight cut. Okay, so here we go. We'll cover up this outline when we put on the spout. So now we're going to want to just make sure we're still fitting. Hey, let go. And I want to change its shape a little so I can smoosh it on as seamlessly as I can. Okay. And we're going to want to add a little moisture. Okay. Now, you don't want this spout to be lower than this edge, because when the user goes to fill the teapot out, water will just come right out the spout, okay? So you got to keep that spout higher than this edge here. That's always a good. And so it's on there. It's got a lot of liquid, and I'm just softening that edge up a little. I'm trying to do as much of this I can, and then I may have to add a little coil, but I don't want to do too much of that. But I got a little space over here on this side. I might have to, and it's going to be a really small coil. Okay, so I got this little guy. Oh, I got a frog in my throat. And in general, I'm smooshing away from the spout onto the clay, the teapot body. So there's our spout. Now one more thing, and I know you've done this before too. So we're going to add a handle. Okay. Make sure the handle is offset the spout. I've made that mistake before. So I'm just really scratching and getting a little slip worked up for where I'm going to join this handle. And I'll have to do it on the tail end of the handle as well, down here. And this area is a little firmer. So I'm going to use a little more water down here. Okay, I'm going to get some clay. I'll be right back. So we got to do a handle, and I thought I'd pull a handle. You guys should all be expert at this from making your mugs. When I'm doing this, I want this to be thinner, this cross section right here. And I want a little taper. I'm not too worried about the length already. Okay. Plenty long enough. And we're going to cut this at 45. Remember that? Oh yeah. That's all good. And then pick it up, put it right in between our thumb and index finger. Now I'm going to smoosh it here. And what I want to do by smooshing it is to give myself a little get these eyes on here just right. And then I have a nice little lamb chops. Hey, what are you talking about? This little flange around here is what I want. That'll make it real easy to join this on here. Then I'm going to go around the handle. Slowly but carefully joining this up. Try not to drag your fingernail all the way around and make a series of lines going around it because it'll take forever to smooth those out. So now I've got my spout here, and now I'm just going to give a couple pulls, straighten it out. And then I'm going to pull it back up. Now this lid is, I feel it's just too big. So I'm going to have to go over that, and I'll probably bring it in just a little bit. I'll have to take the lid off, or the knob off. That's going to get all fouled up. But other than that, there we go. Teapot. So make a couple parts when you go along. You may need them, and they'll be the same overall moisture content as the rest of your pot. Okay? All right.